Most men skip the most important step in dating. They don't gather information, they don't observe, they don't pay attention to who someone actually is. Instead, they jump straight to excitement. They get caught up in attraction. They move forward emotionally and physically before they've actually figured out what kind of person they're dealing with. And then months or years later, they're shocked when they finally see who she really is. But here's what most men don't realize. The first few weeks of dating are literally a test period. You're supposed to be paying attention. You're supposed to be noticing. You're supposed to be gathering information about her character before you invest your heart. That's not manipulation. That's not game playing. That's just being smart. In the next few minutes, I'm going to walk you through the 10 things you should be observing early in a relationship, what her responses actually reveal, and how to use those observations to make decisions that actually serve you. The first thing to watch is how she treats people she can't benefit from. This is the real test of character. Take her out and watch how she treats the waiter. How does she speak to the barista? What's her tone with the cashier? These are people who can't give her anything. These are people she has zero incentive to be nice to. Does she treat them with basic respect? Does she say please and thank you? Does she acknowledge their humanity? Or does she talk down to them? Does she snap at them? Does she treat them like they exist solely to serve her? This tells you everything, because who someone is when there's nothing in it for them is who they actually are. The rest is just performance. The second thing to watch is how she responds to minor stress. Early dating is usually smooth, everything's exciting, but you need to see her under any kind of pressure. Does traffic make her crazy? Does a delayed reservation make her blow up? Does a small inconvenience send her spiraling into anger? Or does she adapt? Does she handle friction with grace? Does she accept that life isn't always perfect? This reveals whether she's emotionally mature or whether she's fragile. It reveals whether she can handle real problems or whether small setbacks send her over the edge. The third thing to watch is how she responds when you have a boundary. Tell her you can't do something. Tell her you have other plans. Tell her you're not comfortable with something. Don't be aggressive about it, just have a boundary. Now, watch what happens. Does she respect it? Does she understand that you're a separate person with your own life? Or does she get upset? Does she try to negotiate or guilt trip you? Does she make you feel bad for not being completely available to her? This tells you whether she sees you as a person or whether she sees you as someone who exists to meet her needs. The fourth thing to watch is what she says about the people in her life. Listen carefully to how she talks about her friends, how she talks about her family. Does she speak about them with affection? Does she acknowledge their strengths? Or does she gossip about them constantly? Does she criticize them without acknowledging anything good? Does she talk about their flaws like she's above them? Because how she talks about people she's supposed to care about is exactly how she'll talk about you once the honeymoon phase wears off. The fifth thing to watch is how she handles disagreement. At some point, you're going to have a different opinion. You're going to disagree about something. What happens then? Does she listen to your perspective? Does she try to understand where you're coming from? Can she disagree without becoming mean or attacking you personally? Or does she fight to win? Does she bring up old issues? Does she refuse to listen? Does she make it personal? This tells you whether you can actually build something real with this person or whether every disagreement becomes a war. The sixth thing to watch is how she responds when she doesn't get her way. Does she accept it and move on? Does she adjust and adapt? Or does she punish you? Does she become withdrawn and cold? Does she pout? Does she try to make you feel guilty for not giving her what she wanted? This reveals whether she's a healthy adult or whether she's used to getting whatever she wants and punishes people who don't comply. The seventh thing to watch is how she talks about her exes. Does she take any responsibility for relationship failures? Does she acknowledge her part in things? Or is every single ex the villain? Is she the victim in every breakup? Does she have zero accountability? If every man she's been with has become a villain in her story, the common denominator is her. Be careful. The eighth thing to watch is her financial habits and what they reveal. Does she spend money intentionally on things that matter to her? Does she have values reflected in how she spends? Or is she spending to impress? Is she in debt for things she doesn't need? Is she irresponsible with money? Money reveals values, and values reveal character. Don't ignore this. The ninth thing to watch is how she responds to your wins. When something good happens to you, is she genuinely happy for you? Does she celebrate with you? Does she feel proud? Or does she minimize it? Does she redirect the conversation to herself? Does she seem threatened or jealous? This reveals whether she's secure enough to support you or whether her success triggers insecurity and competition. The 10th thing to watch is how she reacts when you're not immediately available. Does she respect that you have a full life? Does she have her own interests so she's not dependent on you for entertainment? Or does she get upset when you can't see her? Does she text constantly when you're busy? Does she make you feel guilty for having other priorities? This reveals whether she's a secure adult or whether she's codependent and needs constant reassurance. Here's what you need to understand about all of this. You're not setting traps. You're not being manipulative. You're not playing games. You're simply paying attention to how someone behaves. And behavior tells you everything about character. Behavior shows you who someone actually is underneath the performance. Early dating is a performance. Everyone's on their best behavior. Everyone's trying to impress. She's doing her best to be charming and fun. You're doing the same. But underneath that performance, underneath that effort, there's a real person. And that real person shows up in the little moments. That real person shows up when she's stressed. That real person shows up when she doesn't get her way. That real person shows up when she's around people she doesn't need to impress. If you pay attention to those moments, if you notice what she does when she thinks no one's watching, you get to see who she actually is. A woman with character is kind to everyone. She handles stress gracefully. She respects your boundaries. She speaks well of people in her life. She can disagree without getting mean. She's secure enough to celebrate your wins. She has her own life. A woman without character is rude to people beneath her. She falls apart over small things. She doesn't respect boundaries. She gossips about everyone. She fights to win. She gets threatened by your success. She's codependent. And you need to know which one you're dealing with before you get emotionally invested, before you start planning a future, before you introduce her to your kids. Early dating is your window to gather this information with clear eyes. You don't have to commit yet. You don't have to invest yet. You just get to observe. But most men skip this step. They get caught up in excitement and sex and novelty. They ignore what they're seeing because the chemistry feels good. If you pay attention, if you observe, if you notice patterns early, you can make an informed decision about whether this person is worth your time. And that decision, made with clear eyes, will save you years of pain. Use this time, pay attention, observe, and then decide whether she's actually worth your investment. Comment if you've observed red flags early and ignored them. Comment if you wish you'd paid attention to behavior instead of just enjoying the excitement. Comment if you're going to start observing how women actually behave from now on. I read every comment, and if this helped you understand why observation matters, I'd appreciate it if you'd like this video and subscribe. It helps more men understand that the first few weeks are about gathering information before you get in too deep. Thank you for being here. I'll see you in the next one.